In the past year, I've been balls deep in Doug Walker. Oh, fuck. So this is why you guys proofread your script. That's not how I want it to come off. Let me try it again. What I meant to say is, I've made it some kind of a sick mission to watch all of those horrific Channel Awesome movies, and even recently watched the Atop the Fourth Wall movie by Louis Linkara Lovehog, which isn't even technically a Channel Awesome movie, but it all interconnects somehow. These movies are notoriously awful, and the proof is in the pudding. If you stopped in on any of my live streams of these movies, then you know how much of a burden it was to sit through these multiple hour-long glorified home movies that Doug Walker considers films.
Didn't you have any other strategy outside of going, ah? Well, I didn't think that far ahead.
I don't know why I subject myself to awful media for my live streams, but I'm starting to realize I have a sick, sadistic audience that loves to watch me suffer through these travesties in filmmaking. Well, this got me thinking about Channel Awesome, Doug Walker, and the whole throw it at the wall and see if it sticks methodology he uses to make content. I mean, sure, the guy knows what works, nostalgia critic, but we've also witnessed Doug abandon this very franchise completely only to return back to it with his tail tucked between his legs after his other efforts failed. And there have been a lot of efforts that have failed. In this video, I want to take a look at all the discontinued series that were started and then abandoned by Channel Awesome. Stick around, this is Dancing with Ghosts. Though I may not have been as deeply invested into this guy's content as, say, the Angry Video Game Nerd, I certainly spent a couple years of my life consuming Doug Walker's content, and even at one point felt the need to show my girlfriend at the time Doug Walker's review of The Suicide Squad after watching the actual movie. That's how high I apparently regarded him at one point. Like, okay babe, you've seen the movie, now watch this review, it's hilarious. No, that was wrong then, it was wrong now. Over the years, the angry review style of content has become old and soggy, and even though I wouldn't necessarily classify Doug as angry, the whole over-the-top cartoonish shtick has gotten stale.
One fucking word of the goddamn title right! Shit! What the fuck is this movie? Playing in the background!
Logging on to Channel Awesome these days, you'll find that whoever is running things has trimmed away everything but the most proven franchises, which is basically Doug Walker, period. Doug Walker is the franchise. Which is crazy to me because I feel like it was just yesterday that they were trying to expand the Channel Awesome MCU with series like Tamara Has Never Seen or the Top 5 Best/Worst with Walter Benesiak. I don't know, man. Maybe much like James Rolfe, Doug just doesn't have the time to oversee or help produce these auxiliary shows that might have helped grow the Channel Awesome brand. We see this all the time in aging YouTubers. James Rolfe had a bunch of goofy shit he was trying to do with his Screenwave goons for a couple years, but it was all scrapped in favor of really only keeping the main franchises on life support. But unlike Cinemassacre, Channel Awesome had a fuck ton of series they tried to gas up that unfortunately died an untimely death. I'm going to talk about 13 of them in this video. Is that enough for you? I know you're going to comment about the shows that I missed, but there are just too many stupid little ideas that went on for a year or so and were canceled, and I just can't bring myself to put that much effort into this video, so you get what you get. All right, let's do this.
Who's to say you can't do your other ideas?
I'm done talking to you.
The only one you'd have to give up is demo reel. And we already know what that was this whole time.
The first series that we have to talk about is Demo Reel, because that was the show that Doug Walker was really riding on after he killed the nostalgia critic in his stupid bullshit waste of time to boldly flee movie, a green screen amateur disaster piece that I do not recommend anybody watching. Basically, Doug was trying to end the nostalgia critic character and start a new show which he hoped would bring in the same audience that the nostalgia critic did. Long story short, it didn't. The show sucked. It was nearly unwatchable. Doug and his team of not ready for primetime players try and remake movies but make them better. But it's just your low budget, standard fare schlock that tries way too hard to be funny. The show bombed so badly that Doug had to begrudgingly bring back the nostalgia critic character just to keep the lights on, a move that I know must have chapped his ass in some regard. This is what happens when you indulge in the smell of your own farts just a little too much.
Movies, yes, that's right. You have to pop them anyway without using your hands, though. Yes, because they are very, very sensitive. You remember that time in sports films where girls were just...
This stupid-ass show premiered in 2015 and was a product of an Indiegogo gone horribly awry with misappropriated funds and a lackluster quiz show that nobody asked for and consequently nobody liked. The show, which raised $90,000 to produce, lasted approximately 6 months and was shit-canned. But really though, where the hell did that $90,000 go? This set looks like crap. There is zero sound design. It sounds like Doug is using the onboard camera mic for sound.
On principle, I have to give him the points on that one. Good lord. You really are a fan fiction writer.
The jokes are flat, and the dude pointing the fake gun in the military fatigue is just straight cringe. All at a price point of $90,000 of your fans' money.
Well, I don't know if the ego itself benefits me other than just having a lot of confidence.
Up next, we have Shut Up and Talk. What a clever title for a show. This was an awkward-ass talk show that ultimately took the form of some kind of interview-style video podcast, with Doug displaying how socially uncomfortable he is, even when he is talking to people that he's known and worked with for years.
My hair, so I kept the pigtails. But the reason I'm such a bad you is because I'm not you. I was not raised as a boy, and we weren't really raised watching the same things, and we don't have the same perspective on them. Therefore, I make a pretty piss poor you.
The last episode of this series ended in 2014 with one of the only Channel Awesome alumni worth still watching, Todd in the Shadows. And I'm sorry, but anytime I have to see Todd wearing that stupid half mask, just seems really weird and out of character for him. He's in the shadows. He should never be completely visible. Stay in the shadows, Todd, and keep making great content.
I think this one had more character. Like, they try to flesh out these guys a little more than just jokes.
And when the time came for them, for the most part, when the time came for them to...
Sibling rivalry / spoiler corner. Okay, so Sibling Rivalry was a show Doug Walker did with his brother Rob Walker, who's mainly a behind-the-scenes guy, but he will occasionally show up from time to time as various characters in Nostalgia Critic episodes, and also apparently helps Doug with the writing. This series lasted a whole 5 years before it folded into Spoiler Corner, which lasted a whole 2 episodes before concluding in 2023. By the title, you'd think the series would be about 2 brothers who disagree on everything and have a rousing debate on why a movie does or doesn't suck.
And just been getting critical praise like mad. A lot of people are saying, like, you know, this is as good as Beauty and the Beast. Everyone is really glorifying it. Yeah, they're kind of right.
I'm not going to go that far. It's good.
Well, from what I've seen, they pretty much agree on most of the movies one way or another, and it's another series that nobody asked for that was just another way of padding the Channel Awesome universe. Like, see, we're not just Nostalgia Critic. Look at all this other type of no-effort content we have to offer. And aside from Nostalgia Critic, that's what most of this feels like so far. It's like they've always tried to brand themselves as some standalone ecosystem of content, almost like a Disney Plus or a Netflix. But when you really boil it down, it's basically Nostalgia Critic with a bunch of other tacked-on, low-effort shit that nobody asked for.
This is Tamara's Never Seen, and today I'm watching UHF.
Tamara's Never Seen. Boy, did this series stick in my ass like a cactus. During the time I was subscribed to Channel Awesome, this was an ongoing series still, and new episodes seemed to come out all the time. I would say this is the climax of this video because I have the most to say about this little Channel Awesome subset. The premise of this show was that one of the more notable Channel Awesome actors, Tamara Chambers, had pretty much never seen any movies her entire fucking life. Or at least that's what this series led me to believe. The series was called Tamara's Never Seen, and without a goof or a wink or a nod, the title of this series was essentially saying that this woman has never seen like 90% of the movies that most everyone else in the known world has seen. You can't tell me that this chick has never seen Home Alone, Pulp Fiction, Saving Private Ryan, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Rocky, RoboCop, Titanic, the list goes on. Dude, how are you gonna work for a guy who bases his whole ass persona around movies, and apparently, according to this series, you are not a fan of movies? That's like if you were in a band but you never heard any music. I swear this premise lost me from the very get-go because I know it's bullshit. I know there's no fucking way you haven't seen all these movies that you claim you haven't seen unless when you joined Channel Awesome you had just escaped an Amish cult.
Hi everyone, my name is Tamara Chambers, and this is Tamara Just Saw.
Tamara Just Saw. So running pretty much concurrently with Tamara Has Never Seen was another series called Tamara Has Just Seen, where she reviews movies that she's just seen. It's pretty much the same exact concept of Tamara's Never Seen. If you're a fan of Tamara, you'll probably love these series. Both shows lasted approximately 4 years, which for a Channel Awesome show, that's like 10 years in real world time. Both shows were canceled in 2020. I'm assuming that's due to the pandemic, but I honestly have no idea.
And now it's time for Bum Reviews with Chester A. Bum.
Oh my god, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life! So the movie starts by showing the title, Terminator Salvation! And the people were like, hooray! And then it says who's in the movie, and then it shows the title again.
This is a series that ran from 2015 all the way to 2016. Man, 2015 was a very busy year for Doug. Editing Bay Josh here. Man, you would have thought I would have done a little bit more research, but I didn't. This whole bum review thing started in 2008 and concluded in 2016. So it started way before I thought it did, but I was just going off their YouTube channel, so fuck you. And I don't think I've heard any other YouTuber or of any other YouTube channel that tried so many different things that all failed so spectacularly. This Chester the Bum guy has got to be one of the more, if not most, insufferable Doug Walker spin-offs yet.
Like, are you a man or a machine? And the machine guy is like, boobies. He's a man, alright. So the Resistance thinks they know how to stop the evil machines? It turns out they just had to create a gigantic Control-Alt-Delete.
Doug is playing a stereotypical, cracked-out, crazy homeless guy character who is reviewing movies, but his vocal tone and spastic delivery makes this series essentially unwatchable. I know Doug loves to shoehorn this character into a lot of his critic reviews because he has self-aggrandized his own lore to the point of thinking that people will genuinely get a kick out of seeing this Chester the Bum character. I did always wonder who this bum guy was whenever I was watching the mainstream critic episodes, but now I know, and it's disappointing. Do yourself a favor and skip watching bum reviews. I don't understand who the audience for this show would even be. It's too annoying to appeal to adults, and it's probably too creepy to appeal to kids.
Hey guys, I'm Walter Benesiak, and welcome to Top 5. Here we count down the best and worst performances of our most beloved actors. Today we take a look at the
Top 5 Best/Worst. Bringing back another B-list Channel Awesome player, we have Top 5 Best/Worst with Walter Benesiak. This guy was the same guy who headed the Awesome Comics series on the channel. You know, outside of the Nostalgia Critic, this was the only other content I consumed from Channel Awesome. And I happen to really like this Walter Benesiak fella. I said it earlier, but I was really disappointed that this guy wasn't used more fully on this channel. Who knows why this series ended, but if I were a betting man, I would say that it was a ratings thing. If any of these series had done anywhere near the numbers of a Nostalgia Critic episode, that series would still be around to this day, period. But this is how Rob and Doug Walker make a living, so if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Regardless of how entertaining the series might be, this was a very nuts and bolts type top 5 or top 10 kind of show where the host, Walter, would count down things like top 5 Rocky movies, or the top 5 worst Keanu Reeves performances, or top 5 best Marvel movies. But like any other top whatever list, this series can kind of run out of ideas because you start seeing shit like top 5 worst Power Rangers Turbo episodes, or top 5 best David Tennant Doctor Who episodes. It got too niche for me, so I didn't even notice when they stopped putting out new episodes.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. You know, you can be too old for a lot of things, but you're never too old to be afraid. And our childhoods proved it. We had to put up with clowns and boogeymen and all sorts of ghosts and goblins when we were growing up. So, being the month of Halloween, I've decided to take a look back at the top 11 scariest nostalgic moments of all time. Why top 11? Because I like to go one step beyond.
Up next, we have Top 11. So this is a series Doug Walker has obviously felt some kind of sentimentality towards because he's been doing it since 2008. Way longer than 2015. Look, man, I'm not a that guy with the glasses enthusiast. For all I know, especially given the shitty quality of the early videos, this series has existed probably longer than 2015. For all I know, 2015 is when a lot of this shit was uploaded to YouTube, maybe from that guy with the glasses website. But YouTube is all I'm going off of because I never went to a specific creator's website to view their content. I had better things to do. Unless you were Rotten.com or eBaum's World, I had no reason to go to your website unless you were porn or to download LimeWire. The premise of this show is Doug Walker is counting down or up his favorite or least favorite 11 things about a movie, actor, or franchise. This series appeals to people who like list videos, and I guess I'm one of them because I previously sang the praises of the Walter Beniziak Top 5 video series. However, this series was with Big Daddy Doug Walker, and it still couldn't escape the cancellation axe. Damn! Up next, we have a series called Awesome Builds. This was a series that ran from 2016 to 2020, so honestly, you really can't shake a stick at it compared to the runtime of a lot of these other short-ass Channel Awesome experimentations. And honestly, this is a series I'd rather watch more than most Channel Awesome experiments because it features a dude, Jim Jaraz, weird Polish name, building some of the props used in Nostalgia Critic episodes. Now, as cringe as you might find a lot of things found in the Channel Awesome universe, this is still a fairly entertaining DIY type program, free of anybody trying too hard to be funny. It's just all practical advice. Now I'd like to talk about the series that were around for such a short amount of time, it's barely worth mentioning. So let's barely mention them. Media Memories.
We impact the media impacts us. This is a story about how the media had an impact on me.
I guess this was a hole that they were trying to fill in 2020 when everyone was on lockdown and people were wanting content. This was basically a Microsoft PowerPoint of Doug Walker recollecting childhood stories about how movies influenced him into doing things like drinking beer or confronting a bully.
This is Dominic. Dominic works at a 5-star restaurant called the Pixel Palace. There, some of video games' most popular celebrities pop in to have a drink. Sometimes they share stories and even secrets. Because as we all know, what the bartender hears.
Up next, we have Video Game Confessions. This was a series that ran for a staggering 8 months from 2014 to 2015. I'm not getting into the weeds about exact dates and all that because, again, I'm putting as much effort into this video as Doug put into these series. Video Game Confessions was seemingly an excuse for Doug Walker to regale us with his attempt at an Australian or English accent and his drawing ability.
So I'm sitting there tending bar when in walks one of my favourite customers, Samus. Now Samus very rarely takes off her battle gear, even when she's in a bar. Most of her drinks have to be sipped through straws, but this time she took off her helmet. Why? Because she was smiling. She was so happy about something.
Doug dresses up like a bartender for an upscale bar, Pixel Palace to be exact, and writes bits about classic video game characters, but more in the vein of Taxi Cab Confessions, an adult-themed show on HBO, and less in the vein of nerd culture. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the entire joke. It's video game characters talking to a bartender, admitting to their risque exploits as Doug recounts them later on this cheesy set as a British bartender. Talk about throwing shit at a wall and seeing if it sticks. This series did not. Man, what a lame idea for a series. Awesome Comics. This series went from 2016 all the way to 2017. This was a podcast format series that focused on comic book / nerd culture movies such as Star Wars, the Marvel movies, and anime. It was hosted by Walter Beniziak, a dude who I honestly thought would have had a bigger part in the Channel Awesome infrastructure, but it seems they have shit-canned him as of the past few years. Which is a shame because I honestly liked this guy and his contributions to the channel, unlike anybody involved in Cinemasker's Screenwave roster. With that being said, this was a fairly boring watch with a bunch of Channel Awesome B-listers giving their opinions on all things nerd culture. I think this show failed because you have to really buy into all things Channel Awesome to really care what these people have to say. You were brought here because of Doug Walker, not for his no-name supporting cast who have no identity outside of being involved in Nostalgia Critic skits. No offense to these people, but we all know that's basically true. Last, and certainly least, is a bizarre idea that was basically a GIF with sound. I give you e-salts.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and since its very creation, the internet has opened the doors for so many possibilities. Jobs, entertainment, forums, the social media, the internet has no doubt changed the world. Yet, out of all these possibilities, there is one undeniable fact that will always remain the same. The internet is full of pricks. Complainers, trolls, people...
I suppose this apparatus was set up to give keyboard warriors a Doug Walker-approved clapback to anything 4chan or Reddit might come at them with. And as you might have imagined, it's pretty fucking cringe. Here are some examples.
You know, I love to hear more, but I got a life to live. So here's a random person to motherly agree with you while you desperately search for more attention.
Yeah. You don't say. You are so smart. God, you're better than me. Please tell me more. Every syllable enlightens me to how wrong I am about everything.
Whoa. Yes. 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 Oh, yes. 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 Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm having a real hard time understanding you. Here's someone who better speaks your language.
Goddamn, that was way more Doug Walker than I ever wanted to know about, but my fucking curiosity keeps doing this to me, so I made this stupid video. It's happened to the best of us. Mr. Mediker made a whole series about that guy with the glasses, so if you think it can't happen to you, think again. It seems like Doug's peak output was from 2014 to 2017. And then after that, he just started canceling a bunch of shit left and right. I imagine Doug was trying to recreate the community he had with that guy with the glasses website, but much like that website, nothing seemed to stick with these new cast of characters. But unlike the That Guy with the Glasses website, we never got any minor e-celeb spin-offs like Todd in the Shadows or Angry Joe. I think ultimately Doug wanted to wield more power and influence with Channel Awesome and not have to bother with pesky things like craft services or paying people. But the audience just wasn't there for anything besides the critic. A fact that has got to really chap Doug's ass on some level. Anyway, I've been Turkey Tom, and until next time, leave me alone.